people. I hope everyone's safe and well as we try and get through this difficult time over the next few months of isolation and dislocation and separation. I thought that in commemoration of the 5th year anniversary of this book, my debut, The Last Days of Disco, and frankly, because I've got fuck all else to do, I would present a reading of the entire book. Not all in one sitting, nobody could take that. Just presented nightly with short episodes, in the hope that someone out there quite likes it and someone out there might like to hear me reading the book to them. So I hope that's okay. With the help of the fantastic guys at Into Creative who are going to post this and put it forward, we'll give it a go and with a bit of luck have a bit of a laugh. Okay, so the book has been variously called a cult classic, the greatest book ever written, both of those by me, incidentally. David Ross, the author, who's reading it to you. It's also been referred to as a work alongside the Bible, but less half-arsed and a bit more fact-based. So before we get going, I'll give you a bit of an introduction on the back and a wee bit of the blurb, just to give you an idea of what the book's about. Early in the decade that taste forgot, which is the 80s, Fat Franny Duncan is on top of the world. He's the undoubted king of the Ayrshire mobile disco scene, controlling and ruling the competition with an iron fist. But the future is uncertain. A new partnership is coming and it's threatening to destroy the big man's empire. Bobby Cassidy and Joey Miller have been best mates since primary school. Joey is an idealist. Bobby just wants to get laid and avoid following his brother Gary into the army. Their new mobile disco venture seems like the answer to everything. The Last Days of Disco is about family, music, small-time gangsters, and the fear of being sent to the Falklands by the biggest gangster of them all. Witty, energetic, and entirely authentic, it's also heartbreakingly honest, weaving together tragedy and comedy with uncanny and unsettling elegance. A simply stunning debut. So, in 10 or 15 minute episodes, this one tonight might be a wee bit longer just because of this rambling introduction by me. Here we have The Last Days of Disco by David F. Ross. Hopefully you'll stick with it, and if you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. And with a bit of luck, by the time I've finished fucking reading it, then the coronavirus will have gone and we'll all be back outside sunning ourselves down at the beach again in Irvine or Ayr or wherever the hell you want to be. Okay? Okay, the epigram is sneak home and pray you'll never know the hell where youth and laughter go, from Suicide in the Trenches by Siegfried Sassoon, 1917. Part 1, A Time for Action. Now that the official figure for unemployment has exceeded 3 million, is the Prime Minister proud of the fact that she has brought so much despair to so many families in the United Kingdom? Is she proud of the fact that she and the government have created more havoc in the British economy than the German High Command in the whole of the last war? Dennis Skinner, MP for Bolsover, Prime Minister's Questions, January 1982. Chapter 1. A Man on the Edge. 24th January 1982, 10:23 a.m. Bobby Cassidy was a man on the edge. Monaco was his kind of town. As experiences go, this was a highly unusual one. He had always imagined driving at ridiculous speed through the Nouvelle Chicane with James Hunt and Gilles Villeneuve visible in either wing mirror, unable to pass. But now that it was actually happening, Sean Connery's commentary, where was that actually coming from? It lent the whole thing a strange and distinctly surreal air. It was becoming weirder. Attempting to keep his full concentration on the tight, twisting track with all of its ludicrous hairpin bends and various urban distractions. Was that really Sally McCloy from Hurlford waving at him from the balcony of the Grand Hotel, topless, and with those massive tits jiggling away like jellies in an earthquake? He was troubled by the fact he couldn't recall how he got there. With 3 million on the dole and numbers growing by the day, how had he actually become a racing driver in the first place? He couldn't remember the interview or even filling in the application form. How many races had he completed? Had he met and been interviewed by Murray Walker? Did he still live in a 2-storey terraced council house at 13 Almond Avenue, Kilmarnock, Scotland, Europe, the world, the universe? School jotters. Old habits die hard. With his mum, dad, sister Heather and prodigal early elder brother Gary, and most disconcertingly, why did he now have 3 arms? Surely some mistake. 007 was beginning to really irritate Bobby now. Shut the fuck up, Sean, I'm trying to fucking drive here. As he came round the sharp corner at Portier and headed towards the famous tunnel at 180 miles an hour, Bobby caught a glimpse of his reflection in the glass barriers surrounding the circuit. The red and white McLaren looked like a massive fag packet on wheels. A horizontal line of piercing spotlights caused him to lift his left hand off the tiny steering wheel and up to shield his eyes. As his hand reached his head, 2 conflicting realisations dawned on him. First, he wasn't wearing a fucking helmet. And second, the third arm wasn't his. It belonged to a woman sitting in the bucket seat behind him, and not just any woman. It was the right arm of the lovely Sally James from Tiswas, and she was starting to fondle his cock. Sean, big man, we're no in fucking Kansas anymore. He awoke just in time. It wasn't Sally who was gripping his hard-on. The third arm belonged to Bobby's elder brother Gary. The 2 were lying in a top-and-tail manner suggested either pre-arrangement or that somebody more responsible had placed them that way. To Bobby, his recognition of environment and understanding of context was currently diminished. The latter of these 2 scenarios offered only slightly more comfort. Bobby retched at the thought. He pulled back instinctively, and amazingly Gary didn't stir. If Bobby was careful and composed, he could get out of the situation with his dignity intact. The World Championship dream over for another season. He swiftly but delicately eased his brother's hands away from his dick. Then Bobby slid himself out of his own single bed and onto the pile of discarded and dirty clothes that lay adjacent. Gary moaned a bit but didn't wake up. Bobby had to work hard to stifle an attempt by his stomach to empty its contents right there and then. He edged open the door to his room enough to squeeze through and then made his way along the 10 feet of hall to the toilet, arse cheeks and sphincter working overtime. As he reached the sanctuary of the small bathroom, a new and equally unpleasant sensation began. Motorhead had set up their gear inside his skull and were starting rehearsals for a forthcoming tour. "Let's turn it up to fucking hard 11, lads," said Lemmy. "Wake this stupid cunt up proper." This rapidly grew into a headache, the like of which Bobby could scarcely remember. Worse than when he got his head wedged in old Doris Peters' garden fence when he was 8. Having squeezed through to nick apples from her tree, his head had got stuck on the way back out. He'd only been in the garden for about 20 minutes, but either he'd groaned during the robbery, or he'd tried to leave the scene via a smaller opening than the one Gary and his bastard mates had forced him through on the way in. The pain from having Gary drag him out by the legs had lasted a week. He sat on a toilet pan like the famous Rodin figure for around 20 minutes. What a fucking state to get into, he thought. He hadn't moved since forethought had wisely prompted him to open the small top-hung window just before the deluge had begun. His legs were numb from lack of circulation caused by severe buttock clenching in the early stages. Thereafter he thought, fuck it. It sounded like the Brighouse and Rastrick brass band tuning up, but it was less effort to just leave the sluice gates open. The cistern, temperamental at the best of times, had given up the ghost around flush 6. By the time Bobby felt sufficiently empty to attempt standing, Motorhead were still thrashing away. As he tightly gripped the towel rail, holding on for stability like an OAP, they'd at least tried to figure out a few unplugged acoustic numbers. Bobby allowed himself a glimmer of a smile at this ridiculous analogy. "Thanks, Lemmy, you manky, wart-faced bastard," he whispered at the vaguely familiar image staring back from him from above the avocado-coloured sink. What the fuck had occurred last night? He'd had a few mental hangovers before in his short career as a drinker, but Jesus Christ, this was crazy. He couldn't remember getting home. Truth was, he couldn't even recall going out in the first place. All he knew for certain was that Gary would be central to the reasons behind his amnesia. A pain in his lower back was now also beginning to make itself known. "Fucking hell, you get a shift on, eh?" The gruff, croaky voice jolted Bobby. It had come from the imposter who had recently been trying to ease Bobby's penis into fifth as he accelerated towards Laracas. "You'll never believe the dream I've just had," it said. The bathroom door was now opened to its maximum its chain lock would allow. Harry, Bobby's dad, had fitted it following his sister's impassioned plea for a bit of privacy, following her first frightening steps on the road to womanhood. There hadn't been a working lock on the bathroom door for around 10 years. Rather than get the right one for the situation, Harry had rooted around in his shed and fashioned a temporary solution from an old padlock. It had now been temporarily keeping unwanted visitors at bay for nearly 14 months. "I was in disguise," declared Gary, his ferret-like features pressed against the 2-inch gap, like Jack in The Shining. "Dressed up as a phantom flan flinger, so I was. Sally James comes out, all coy and that. And mind, this is all live on fucking telly. Saturday morning and all." So she tells everybody, "It's time the phantom was unmasked." Bobby gagged. Gary's face was now pushed so far into the gap that he looked distorted, like a Picasso, with both eyes on the same side of the head. "What the fuck's that smell? Is that you, Bob? Fuck's sake, you're not dead in there, are you?" Gary sniffed the putrid air several times before continuing. "So as I was saying, I'm about to get unveiled on live telly. But instead of taking the cape off, Sally reaches inside it and starts fucking wanking me off. Fucking mental, man." Gary paused to maximise the effect. Bobby was astonished that they had both been dreaming about the same person. "One of they dreams you're absolutely fucking convinced it's really happening," Gary pondered again, inhaled deeply and carried on. "Then just as I'm getting close, she fucking stops, leaving me hanging." A third pause. "So fucking hurry up and get out of there till I finish myself off." A few more sniffs. "Unless you want to do it, that is." Thank you. Join us again tomorrow night for some high-class, top-quality literature, just like that, episode 2. Bye-bye.